Good evening, everyone. Shabbat Shalom. I am so sorry to break up this party. I walked in here and it was like a Shabbat party in here. I think it's wonderful. But we are going to start services. We're going to begin this evening. First of all, I'm thrilled to be joined on the bima by Dr. Steve Kramer. Always a pleasure to lead services together. And we're going to begin this evening with Shalom Aleichem on page 142. I think this setting of Shalom Aleichem is actually new to most of you. And so I just hope that you enjoy it. I think it is by my colleague, Cantor Natalie Young. And for me, it really evokes the feeling of visiting angels. Beautiful new melody. Shalom. Malachei Elyon Mimelech Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu Boachem Leshalom
We welcome the Sabbath now with the kindling of the Shabbat lights. I would like to invite Stan and Ricky Rudy to kindle the Shabbat lights as we turn to pages 120 and 121.
O source of light and truth, creator of the eternal law of goodness, help us to find knowledge by which to live. Lead us to take the words we shall speak into our hearts and our lives, Bless all who enter this sanctuary in need, all who bring the offerings of their hearts. May our worship lead us to acts of kindness, peace, and love.
Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to kindle the lights of Shabbat.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
We read together on the bottom of page 124. May the door of this synagogue be wide enough to receive all who hunger for love, all who are lonely for friendship. May it welcome all who care the unburdened, thanks to express, hopes to nurture. May the door of this synagogue be narrow enough to shut out pettiness and pride, envy and enmity. May its threshold be no stumbling block to young or straying feet. May it be too high to admit complacency, selfishness, and harshness. May this synagogue be, for all who enter, the doorway to a richer and more meaningful life. Please turn to page 135, bottom.
At the bottom of the Hebrew, you'll find Romamu. Romamu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachvu le'ar kodsho. Romamu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachvu le'ar kodsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romamu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romamu. Romamu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachvu le'ar kodsho. Romamu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachvu le'ar kodsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romamu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romamu. Romamu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachvu le'ar kodsho. Romamu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachvu le'ar kodsho. We continue now with Lecha Dodi, page 138. Lecha Dodi likrat kala pnei Shabbat v'kavela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala pnei Shabbat v'kavela. Shamor tzachor v'dibur echad yishmianu el hamiuchad. Adonai echad u'shmo echad l'shem multiferet v'lithilah. Lecha Dodi likrat kala pnei Shabbat v'kavela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala pnei Shabbat v'kavela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha ki pi makor habracha me'rosh ושלום, עטרת בלה, גם בשמחה ובצולה. תוך אמוני העם סגולה, בואי חלה, בואי חלה. דודי לקראת קלה, כדי שבת וקבלה. דודי לקראת קלה, פני שבת וקבלה.
We turn to page 144 for the Chatzi Kaddish.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, בעלמא דברך חירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומייכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בגלה בגלה ובזמן קריב, ויאמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך, לעולם ולעולמי עלמיה, יתברך, יתברך וישתבח, ויתפאר ויתרומם וינשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל, שמי דקודשה בריחו, לעילה מן כל ברכתה בשירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, תאמירן בעלמא, ואמרו אמן.
We rise for the call to worship on page 146. Together on page 147. O God, you are as near as the very air we breathe, yet farther than the farthest star. We yearn to reach you. We seek the light and warmth of your presence. Though we say you are near, we are lonely and alone. Oh, let our desire be so strong that it will tear the veil that keeps you from our sight. Let your light release our darkness and reveal the glory and joy of your presence. We turn to page 150 for Ahavat Olam.
Ahavat Olam Beit Yisrael Amcha Ahavta Torah u'mitzvot Chukim u'mishpatim Otanu limadeta Al kein Adonai Eloheinu B'shachbeinu u'b'kumeinu תורתך, אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל. שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד. ברוך שם כבוד מלכותו לעולם ועד.
Please be seated. On page 154, V'ahavta.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Together, just below, you shall love Adonai your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might. Take to heart these instructions with which I charge you this day. Impress them upon your children. Recite them when you stay at home and when you are away, when you lie down and when you get up. Bind them as a sign on your hand, and let them serve as a symbol on your forehead. Inscribe them on the doorposts of your home and on your gates. Thus you shall remember and observe all my commandments, and be holy to your God. I am Adonai your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt to be your God. I am Adonai your God. Adonai Elohim Emet. We read responsively on page 157. In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, Adonai, there is one God in heaven and earth.
The high heavens declare your glory. May earth reveal your justice and love.
From bondage in Egypt we were delivered. At Sinai we bound ourselves to your way.
Inspired by prophets and instructed by sages, time and again we overcame oppressive forces.
Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in the dark ages your vision of a world redeemed.
Let us continue to work for the day when the nations will be one and at peace. Then shall we rejoice as Israel did, singing on the shores of the sea. ימלוך לעולם ועד. אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. ונאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו. ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל.
Together on page 159. Sing the song of men and women, join in understanding and respect, the song of God's miracles, an earth protected and cherished, a gift for our children and the generations to come, the song of a land once ravished by war, now quiet and content, her soldiers home to leave no more, the song of a world redeemed, the song of peace.
Ashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom ve'hamidenu shomreinu lechaim. Ashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom ve'hamidenu shomreinu lechaim. Ushmor tzeitzenu uvoenu lechaim u'shalom me'ata ve'ad olam. Ashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom ve'hamidenu shomreinu lechaim. Ashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom ve'hamidenu shomreinu lechaim.
Together on the top of page 161. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up waiting to do your will. Baruch atah Adonai, haparis sugat shalom aleinu, va'al kol amo Yisrael, va'al Yerushalayim.
V'shameru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם לעולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, וביום השביעי שבת וינפש.
We rise for the tefillah on page 164.
Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi yagi tehilatecha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotinu v'imotenu Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Vekonei HaKol, V'zocher Chastei Avot v'Imachot, U'mevii Geula Livnei V'neihem, Leman Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshia U'Magen, Baruch Atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, Bezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor Leolam Adonai, Mechayei HaKol Atah Rav Lehoshia, Mechalkel Chayim Bechesed, Mechayei HaKol Berachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim Verofei Cholim, Umatir Asurim, Umkayem Emunato, Lishenei Afar, Micha Mocha Ba'al Gevurot, Umido Melach, Melech B'mit Umachaya, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'ne'emanat al hachayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayei hakol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, U'kadoshim b'chol yom yehallelu chasela, Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el hakadosh.
Please be seated. Together on the top of page 173. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai, Makadesh HaShabbat. Together on page 177. God of goodness, we give thanks for the gift of life, wonder beyond words, for the awareness of soul, our light within, for the world around us so filled with beauty, for the richness of the earth, which day by day sustains us. For all these and more, we offer thanks. Baruch atah Adonai, Atov Simcha, Uka Na'el Lahodot.
Ki atah
Together on page 179. Grant us peace, your most precious gift, O eternal source of peace, and give us the will to proclaim its message to all the peoples of the earth. Bless our country as a safeguard of peace, its advocate among nations. Make contentment reign within our borders, health and happiness within our homes. Strengthen the bonds of friendship and fellowship among all the inhabitants of every land. Plant virtue in every soul, and may the love of your name hallow every home and every heart. Praise are you, Eternal One, who blesses our people with peace. Baruch atah Adonai, hamvarik et emo Yisrael bashalom.
At this time in our Shabbat service, we pause to think of those in our communities, in our families, in our circles, who are in need of healing, whether healing of body, mind, or spirit. In our congregation, this Shabbat, we're sending healing prayers to Reina Elvie and Eloise Rapino, and I would invite you to add out loud the names of those that are in your heart.
Gail Goldman.
We join together in the Misha Berach for healing on page 371.
Makor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen.
We pause now for a moment of silent prayer. I found this story online, and then I've added something afterwards. One day, when I was a freshman in high school, I saw a kid from my class walking home from school. His name was Kyle. It looked like he was carrying all of his books. I thought to myself, why would anyone bring home all of his books on a Friday? He must really be a nerd. I had a nice weekend planned, after some homework, a football game with my friends, and then just hanging out. So I shrugged my shoulders and went on by. As I was walking, I saw a bunch of kids running toward him. They knocked all of his books out of his arms and tripped him. I saw him land on the dirt with his glasses flying about 10 feet away. There was a terrible look of sadness in his eyes. My heart went out to him. So I jogged over as he crawled around looking for his glasses. I saw a tear in his eye. As I handed him his glasses, I asked if he was okay. He looked at me and said with an emptiness, "I'm okay," but I knew he wasn't. He also thanked me, and I saw a little smile on his face. It was one of those looks that showed real gratitude. I helped him pick up his books and asked where he lived. It turned out he lived near me, so I asked him why I hadn't seen him before. He said he had gone to another school and just recently moved here. We talked all the way home. I carried some of his books. He turned out to be a pretty cool kid. I asked him if he wanted to play football tomorrow, and he said yes, he'd like that. We hung out all weekend, and the more I got to know Kyle, the more I liked him. My friends liked him too. Monday morning came, and there was Kyle with that huge stack of books again. I stopped him and said, "Hey, Kyle, you're going to build some serious muscles carrying all those books." He laughed. Over the next 4 years, Kyle and I became best friends. When we were seniors, we decided to keep in touch after graduation. Kyle was going to Georgetown, and I was going to Duke. Kyle was the valedictorian of our class. I teased him all the time about him being a nerd, and I was glad it wasn't going to be me speaking at graduation. Graduation day, I saw Kyle. He looked great. He was one of those guys that really found himself during high school. He filled out, was very popular, and was pretty good looking for a guy. As he started his speech, he cleared his throat and began. Graduation is a time to thank all those who help you make it through those tough years. Your parents, your teachers, your siblings, maybe a coach, but mostly your friends. I'm here to tell you that being a friend to someone is the best gift you can give them. He told the story of the day we first met. I just looked at him in disbelief. He said he had planned to kill himself over the weekend. He said he felt out of place in the school. He had just moved here, had no friends, and was constantly being bullied. He talked of how he had cleaned out his locker so his mom wouldn't have to do it later. Thankfully, I was saved. My friends saved me from doing the unspeakable. I heard a collective gasp going through the crowd as this handsome and popular young man told us all about his weakest moment. I saw his mom and dad look at me and smile. Not until that moment did I realize its depth. Never underestimate the power of your actions. With one small gesture, you can change a person's life, for better or for worse. God puts us all in each other's lives to impact one another in some ways. Do only good to others, always. And may I add the following from my experience, for what it's worth. In the movie The Intern, where Robert De Niro is a senior intern, meaning old guy, working for Anne Hathaway's online clothing company. Great movie, by the way. I highly recommend it. He said to Anne's character when she asked if he had a motto or a credo, De Niro's character said, "It's never wrong to do the right thing, but I think Mark Twain said that before I did," unquote. Yes, Mark Twain said that, and Mark Twain followed that by saying, "That doesn't mean it's easy. It usually takes courage and integrity." I was advisor to many students at the University of Toledo. One of those students was accused by a professor of cheating. The professor happened to be my department chairman. This was the offense. Immediately after a test in thermodynamics, Ahmed went back into the classroom to retrieve a book he left under his chair. The professor had a rule, and students knew this, that you cannot re-enter the classroom after leaving because he left the answer key outside the door on a chair, which students are told to pick up after the test to compare answers. Well, Ahmed did not pick up the answer key, but right at the door, remembered he left his book under his chair, turned right around, and went back to get it. The professor saw him enter the room, told him to get out just as he was leaning down to pick up his book. Ahmed said, "I'm just getting my book." Didn't matter. The professor was going to give Ahmed the grade of F for the course. As his advisor, Ahmed came to me, told me the story, and asked what he could do. I told him there was a committee that deals with issues of academic dishonesty and appeals. He appealed, and this appeal enabled him to attend and complete the course. A week after the semester was over, at a hearing before the committee, I went with Ahmed and sat with him as he pled his case. On the other side of the table was my department chairman, who was not at all pleased to be there. This was my first experience like this, and I don't mind admitting I was more than a bit afraid of the consequences. Although there was this rule about not re-entering the room, and it was only by this professor and only for his classes, I felt the punishment here did not fit the crime. Sparing you the details of the questions, answers, and deliberations, the committee reversed the automatic F grade, and Ahmed was granted the grade he earned in the course. Turned out, Ahmed was not a very good student in thermodynamics. He actually did not do any better than an F grade due to his low test scores. Perhaps this had a bearing on the committee's decision, perhaps not. But with the committee's decision, the student did not have the stigma of academic dishonesty on his record. He later passed the course with a different professor. For me, I'm pleased to say there were no negative consequences from anyone. Fast forward 2 years. About 3 weeks before graduation, Ahmed came to my office and said, "I just found out you're Jewish. I'm Palestinian. I was taught all Jews are evil. Because of you, I know that is not true. You have always treated me with respect and courtesy, and I will never forget that you stood up for me at that committee hearing. I'll tell my friends and family about you." He closed by saying, "Salam," to which I said, "Shalom." Shabbat Shalom. We have some announcements.
Good evening, Shabbat Shalom. I'm Lauren Sachs, I'm a member of the board, and I want to share that first of all, the flowers on the bima this evening are from Jeff and Judy Cohen in honor of the bar mitzvah of Drew Cochran. Mazel tov to Drew and his entire family, and also in loving memory of Lillian and Harold Miller and Mark Miller, Dora and Lois Cohen, Murray Cohen, and Mary Cook. In addition, Rabbi Julie Schwartz will be joining us at the temple on February 3rd and 4th as scholar in residence. She will lead Shabbat services with Cantor Rower on Friday, February 3rd. Services will immediately be followed by Shabbat dinner, so please call the temple office for reservations. She will also be leading a Shabbat program on February 4th. Please join us for Kiddush in the hallway, where we will have an opportunity to greet each other. And in addition, be sure to check your email on Wednesday for Temple Talk, as always. Find the latest news of upcoming events and programs. And again, Shabbat Shalom.
We turn to page 586 for our closing prayers, the Aleinu. On the bottom of page 586, please rise. seated. On page 593, the light of life is a finite flame. Like the Shabbat candles, life is kindled, it burns, it glows. It is radiant with warmth and beauty, but soon it fades, its substance is consumed, and it is no more. In light we see, in light we are seen. The flames dance, and our life burns down and gutters. There is an end to the flames, we see no more, and are no more seen, yet we do not despair. For we are more than a memory, slowly fading into the darkness. With our lives we give life. Something of us can never die. We must, in the eternal cycle of darkness and death, of light and life.
At this time in our service, our thoughts turn to those in our congregational community who have passed away in recent days and weeks, and for whom the period of Shiva or Shloshim is still being observed. We think of David Raymond, Jane Raymond, Daniel Webney, John Bucky, and Marjorie Kramer. We also remember those whose yahrzeit, the anniversary of death, falls on this Shabbat. We think of Israel Abramovsky, Moses Bilstein, Will Brookfield, Joseph Cohen, Kirby Warren Cohen, Martha L. Cohn, Arthur Dallett, William Goldstein, Samuel Hirschman, Annette J. Himmelhoek, Alma Horvitz, Dorothy Igdaloff, Mamie Klein, David Kronstadt, Dorothy M. Mindell, Seymour S. Mindell, Jack Minko, Aaron Moore, Mary B. Newell, Samuel Raskin, Selma Reinstein, Nate Zeitner, Herman Silverman, Erwin J. Silverman, Elaine Moyer Steinberg, Sam Sustin, and Goldie Zemmelman. We rise now as one community and turn to page 598 for the recitation of Kadisha Tome, the Mourner's Kaddish. We join together. Yikadal v'yikadash shemei rabbah, bel ma divarach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, b'agalau v'zman kari v'imru amen. Yehi shemei rabbah mevarach le'olam u'lalmei almaya, yit barach v'yishtabach v'yipa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yit hadar v'yit aleh v'yit halal, shemei dekudsha b'richu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nechamata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehi shalom rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav, uyaseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn and comfort to all who are bereaved. And we say together, amen. Our closing song this evening contains the words that Steve closed with when he was giving his devar today, salam, shalom, that recognition of that commonality, that common hope that we all have for peace. Od Yavo Shalom.
That's page 657, 657.
Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu ve'akulam. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu ve'akulam. Salam Aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, salam, salam Aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, salam.
Od yavo shalom aleinu ve'al kulam. Od yavo shalom aleinu. Od yavo shalom aleinu. Od yavo shalom aleinu ve'al kulam. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.